Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shoaib Khan and welcome back to Maxafter.com. Well, I know it's been a while since I've written a tutorial. My last tutorial was millions of years ago, and I wrote it in a cave, if you remember, and I drew the tutorials on the cave wall, and I hope you understood all of it. Seriously, I've been very busy with clients. Also, it's the month of Ramadan, where I have to fast 15 hours a day, where I can't eat and I can't even drink water. So all for good reasons. So now, good thing is I'm back with a new tutorial. It's not a big one, but it is a very informative one and also a very exciting one. So here's what we would be doing. So basically it's a football that crashes into the wall and then you see the logo. So it could be a good, promo title for a football match. So basically not a very difficult one. A few built-in plugins in After Effects, especially the shatter. So you guys ready? Let's start the tutorial. Okay, first thing is we will drag our wall map and make a new comp. This is the smooth one, and this one is the one that is cracked. Okay, so I put smooth on top, and now what we need to do is just turn off this for a while and apply our main plugin, shatter. First thing is view. Now, like right now we are viewing a wireframe, so we don't need that. If you don't have a powerful computer, then you can use wireframe plus forces, but in this case we'll be using rendered so that we see what's happening here. Okay, the second thing is we go to the shape. So in the shape you go to pattern. So the pattern is bricks right now. I don't like bricks because it's too symmetrical and looks like very computerized. So we go and we select class. This is much better. Okay, basically we're not doing much here. It's very simple and straightforward. Okay, the repetition is basically the number of chunks that we see here. Since they are very big right now, so we'll increase them to, let's say, 68. That looks much better. And now we'll leave the rest as it is. Like I said, it's not here much to change. And so we go to force. In force, the strength is 2. And right now what's happening is the whole thing is breaking up here, but we want a hole basically in the center. So for that is the radius. So if we turn down the radius to 0, nothing happens. So that's why we have to put keyframes here. So at frame 15, let's put keyframe for the radius. And if you hit U on your keyboard, you'll see the keyframe here, and move it forward to 1 second, or let's say 10 frames. Then we change the radius to, let's say, 0.2. So the next step now is we leave force 2 as it is, but you are more than welcome to explore it. And gradient as well, we leave it for now. And we come down to physics. In physics there's not much to do. We just change the rotation. So basically if you render it, this is how it looks. So right now what's happening is the chunks are not being rotated properly, because it's like an explosion. So an explosion, you know that the pieces, they move very fast and randomly and rotate. So that's why you need to change the rotation to, let's say, 0.5. Well, there you go. Nice and easy. Cool. Our shatter is done. Let's close this. We'll write this comp as, it's a very good idea to rename your comp. If this is your final comp, then if you press enter in your keyboard and write 001, and if you write final, so it automatically go up the stack. If you put it here, it'll come here. So if you are working in a company, what happens is it's very important to organize your folders and your files, so that sometimes if you're freelance, the next person comes, it's very easy for him to know that, okay, this is the final, let's see, you know, how it is. If your compositions are all over the place, then it's very difficult for people to know, you know, what is happening in the composition, because this is a very small project, since, you know, there are projects where there are like so many compositions that sometimes you get lost, you know. So it's a very good idea to make folders here like pre-comps. If this is very important, pre-comps is where you put all your pre-compositions, and then this is the final one comes here on the top, and then this is the maps, you know, you put the maps, and then you add up other folders as well, like renders, previews, etc, 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 you know. So that's very easy, and it looks very professional as well. Okay, so let's move on to the next step, which is the edges of the wall. It looks like as if it's like a paper, you know, so we need to give it some thickness. Just go to bevel alpha, and we just drag it on top of the layer, so we can see there is this nice bevel here. So 3, and let's put 0.4, so we just have an idea of, you know, the bevel. So the next step is now to add our BG smooth, you know, which is on top. So because we want the football to hit it, and then we see the crack. So if you press here, you know that our animation explosion starts here. So you need to put keyframes here for opacity. So if you press T on your keyboard, you'll see the opacity, and then you just put a keyframe for opacity, which should be 0 by the time it reaches here, and move your timeline a little bit back and put 100. So just move these keyframes here. So let's run it and see how it looks. We need to put a background. Just drag the same BG cracked under it, so that we see that there is another wall behind it. So now we are not able to see the wall properly, so what we'll do is we'll just add a shadow to it. So if you put a shadow to your BG cracked and turn it up to 100 and turn this to 0 and move it up. Okay, so let's see how it looks. Okay, let's add a blur to it, which is CC radial fast blur. So the blur starts as it explodes. So if you put a keyframe here for the blur, let's say 64 is fine. Press U, so you'll see the keyframes. And probably turn it down to 0 here. Let's see how it looks. Okay, now one very important thing that we have to put is wiggle. So we'll go to Windows and the Wiggler, and let's change this to jagged. And for the wiggle, let's close this for a second. For the wiggle, we need to put position points so that with impact, I want the whole thing, you know, like a camera shake. So what we need to do is like just put position points, because it works with the position. So if you put a position key here, and then probably a position key there, and we change this to, let's say, to 35, this to 25. So in order to apply this, you need to just select these two only, then it will only show up. So if you click, you'll have your wiggler applied. So now it looks cool. What's happening is, you can see that we need to apply motion tile to here, because you can see the edges. Before that, we want the smooth layer to move with it. So what we'll do is just press P and we'll click Alt and time stopwatch. So what we'll do here is we'll take the position pick whip and attach it to position of BG cracked. So now whatever happens to this position, you'll see that the other layer will move with it. So as you can see, both our layers in the same place. So we'll do the same with the background as well. We'll press P, press Alt and the stopwatch, and then we get this menu here. So what we need to do is take this pick whip and attach it to the position of BG cracked. So now all these layers will move with the BG cracked, so we don't have to repeat and apply the position keys to all the layers. So this is a good technique to do that. So now the next thing is, we see here negative space here because of the movement of the wiggler. So another thing we need to do is just select all of them and turn on the motion blur for all of them. Cool. Okay, so I hope you guys are following me. Okay, now we need to apply the motion tile to this layer. So we need to just turn on the mirror edges. Let's turn off the other layers for a second, and 125, 125. So let's close all of these. As you can see, that the motion tile that we have applied, we can't see it because it's at the end of the stack. So if we move it up, then you'll see that's been applied. So all we need to do is now is to, if we press E, we get the motion tile. So select it, Control C, put on top of here Control V, and select this one, say Control V. So this way we've got the motion tile applied to all of it. So now we don't see the background. So let's see how it looks. Well, as you can see, so far so good. Let's move on to the next stage, which is to create some smoke and debris. Of course, when there's an explosion, there is dust, smoke, clouds. For that, we just create a new solid, turn it to black, make comp size, name it particular. You go to effect and trap code particular. So as you can see, particles being emitted already. And so first things first, let's go to emitter. 100 particles being emitted. So as you can see, 100 particles are being emitted. Let's go back to frame 0. So let's turn off all the other layers. For that, we just click here. You don't have to go and close all of this. What we can do for that is just click this one, and you'll see that the rest will be disappeared. Now if we scroll down and we change the emitter type to box, because the explosion is all over the place, it's not coming from one point, and we increase the box size. Let's make it bigger and wider, and change this to outwards. The direction, of course, explosion is always outwards. So the particles at frame 0 is 100. So let's put a keyframe there and press U so you'll see the keyframe there, and we move it forward to, let's say, 21 frames and just turn it down to 0. So the particles will emit till frame 21, and after they'll start dying or stop emitting. You don't need to do anything here. Okay, now we move down to particles, and the particle life is 3 seconds. Let's change it to 1 second. And this is very important, particle type. So we need smokelets basically. And rotation is, we'll deal with the rotation in a second. First we have to increase the size to, let's say, 70, and turn down the opacity to, let's say, 15. And we also want our clouds to move randomly, fast. So the rotation is, we need a small expression here, so we click Alt and click the stopwatch, and then we just type random 0 360. Let's change the opacity, random opacity to 100, and also set color to over life, and we select this option here. So when at birth it's white, so at death it's black, dark color. So what we need to do is change this color to a bit grayish, because we don't want white color. And close this and change the transfer mode to screen. Also we need opacity over life. We need to change this to random. So the next thing is, we just turn on our layers and we move it forward where the explosion starts, and we turn down the opacity as well from here a little bit. So we move on to our next step. So that was our smoke particles. Now we'll move on to the next step, which is CC particle world. So here it is, CC particle world, and for that we have to, of course, make a new layer, new solid, color to black for now, and change it to, call it debris. Yeah, comp size, okay, and just drop it on debris, and we get cool looking particles. I suggest we end the tutorial here, because these particles, they are looking very, very nice, and they are gelling up with the whole thing, as you can see when I render how it looks. As you can see, the fountain coming out. Wow, absolutely amazing. See, you don't have to do anything else. But anyways, we'll carry on, and we turn off the grid for now, and if we go to options, and in options what we will do is rendering and force motion blur, turn it on, and in opacity, of course, we want the faded ones, and see OK. And now the burst rate, turn it down to 1. There's far too many particles. And longevity, leave it as it is, so bring it near our particular. So we'll move on to the next step, which is producer. Let's see what producer says. It says 0, so just leave it as it is. And now the next step is physics. Physics is explosive, which is good. And velocity 1 inherit, just turn it up a little bit. And gravity to 0.1, let's say. Yeah, that's better. And then we come down to particles, and the particle type. This is a very, very simple, CC particle world, and you don't have much options in this, so it's easy to handle as well. Just a few tweaks and we get what we want. So in here we say faded sphere, and we change the birth color to say grey, and the depth color to black. Okay, so let's see how it looks. Okay, so far so good, but it keeps on going forever and doesn't stop, so we have to put a hold on it, and for that we go up, and burst rate right now is 1, so we put 1 here, and we move it to, say, turn it down to 0 here. Let's see how it looks. Okay, so at 1 second the particles are being born, and by the time it reaches 2 seconds it dies. Let's see the sizes. Let's play with the size a bit. So of course the butter size is bigger, and that size is a bit smaller. Cool. So here we are. Okay, the next step is we'll add our text, and guess what the text is? Yep, Maxafter. Advertisement. This is called advertisement. We use nice thick font, which is impact. Let's pre-compose this layer. Say text, not test. Text, no more tests. Okay. Click Alt and double click here. It'll take us back to the comp of text. Okay, and now we go and apply an effect called roughen edges. So it gives a nice rough effect. So we just go and say rusty color. Let's change the border to 5 edge sharpness. Okay. Apply bevel to it as well. Bevel alpha. And so that's the bevel alpha. And let's apply a ramp to it as well. Put the ramp on the top, and change the color. Let's bevel it a bit more so that we get these nice jagged ends. So let's write the rest of the text. Football. So by the way, I just duplicated the layer here and I just changed the text. So double click this layer and select this one, and we turn down the size and move it here somewhere, and turn this down as well so that it looks like the logo. And let's reduce the gap here actually. Yep. Let's bring it close. So Maxafter, and let's title open safe titling so that we know where the center is. Select both of them, move it up, and Control D on your keyboard, we get another one, another layer, and we just write 2008 and just put it here somewhere roughly. select all the layers and bring it to the center. So now we go back to Final Comp, and our text layer is here already. So bring that text layer under BG Cracked 2. Close this, and let's apply shadow to our text layer. Let's change the color of this BG Cracked, which is under the text. Let's change this, apply a hue saturation to it, and we'll change the color to something that is a bit darker, and also size. Press S on your keyboard and we'll bring the size down so that the text is visible. Next step is let's apply a bit of glow to the text as well. And we put it above drop shadow. Not much difference, but there's a tiny bit difference there. So let's turn up the glow a little bit. Just to 5. Let's see how it looks. Turn that to 10 and drop shadow is something that we need to change. Let's put white shadow to it so the whole thing glows up. Okay, let's apply another shadow to it and change the color of that to black. Put it above the white one, change it to black, and let's see how it looks. So now we've got black shadow, and under that then we've got white shadow. So if we increase the softness of white one, that's how it's going to look. Now let's apply, let's put a new adjustment layer and change the color by applying curve, and let's go to the red one, just put it down a little bit, and then the green, move it up, blue as well a little bit up, so you get this nice feel. So this is how it looks when we render. So it's a good impact. So now what we need to do is to add our football layer to it. All we need to do is just drag in the map and apply CC Sapphire. So this is our football map here. Just bring it here and apply CC Sapphire. There we go. We've got our football. Now all you need to do is turn on the 3D layer for the football and go to P, and we just make it small, and okay. The impact point is basically here somewhere, and we make it a bit more smaller, and we just okay, now we just chop our layer till here, and we press P, and we add a keyframe, and then we just bring it back. And we just move it across. And let's see how it looks. so it's a bit slow right now. So what we need to do is to start the football from here somewhere. So when it comes here in the middle, you want it to curve. So basically what we're doing here is we're curving the football, and it's called Bend It Like Beckham. There you go. It still needs to be a bit faster. And now we turn on the motion blur for the football. So now it looks cool. Cool. Let's rotate the football a bit as well. Go to rotation. At the end, just put a keyframe, and here as well, and we just rotate it randomly. So let's see how it looks. Cool, so far so good. Now the next step is, which is the last step, just take the same layer of the football layer and Control D and move it forward. So as the debris falls, we make our football. Press P. So now what we need is we need our football to come from the other side, not from this side. So what we need to do is select it, and let's delete this key, and the football is here. So as usual, push it back.